Good evening and salutations, my YNR fans. So, I gotta sit there and say, this episode was actually pretty good. There was a lot of moving parts, so I just hope that I cover them all. So, let's start off with Adam, Sally, and eventually Victor. So, Adam is kind of worried because, he pretty much was like, I did this plan. I don't know if it's gonna work. He may take it, he may not take it. Sally is I guess trying to comfort him or um, back him up by saying you did the best that you can. You saw an opening, you took it, you took initiative, and one thing leads to another, and he start kissing. Victor comes in, and Victor's like, "Yeah, we gotta talk." And I'm just looking at this whole thing, and I'm like, you're supposed to be a CEO, and you're making out with your assistant. It's probably not a good look, but I'm gonna overlook that because at this point he is much more pissed off at the fact that Adam pretty much went behind the family's back, made a deal, and did it without him knowing. So he is just livid. And, Adam makes the argument that this plan was not going to work. He wasn't falling for the bait. I saw an opportunity and I took it. At this point, I'm like, Adam, you're not really understanding what your dad is saying. And this is kind of the issue. It's more the fact that he did this without his permission. He didn't sit there and inform him. And Ashley came to him talking about this plan. Now he had to sit there and back him up. Um, because he wanted to make sure that the family was united, not just making deals behind his back. So he played along, but it was something he felt like he shouldn't have had to do. You know. Also, going behind his sister's back and you know making her. It's just the fact that he went behind his sister's back. He didn't trust his sister, and it just made him look. It just made him come across like he was just trying to screw over his sister in some sort of way by making her look dumb and or incompetent or whatever. And even at this point, Victor's like, "Where are you gonna get this money from?" And Adam's like, "We'll get it from her." I mean, she's the one that we'll get it from Victoria. She's the one that let this snake into this position, into our family, into our lives. She should be the one that has to deal with it. At this point, Victor is just livid. He's like, "Yo, how you gonna sit there and treat your sister like that?" Like it just came across as so insensitive. And what it came down to is Adam was like, "So did he turn down the money?" No, he didn't do it, did he? And Victor was like, "Listen, next time you do something like that, you give me a heads up. You don't start making deals of that magnitude without my permission." And I feel like at this point, Adam was just like, you know what? I know exactly how you are. It's just easier to just say yes to you and just, move forward than to sit there and keep arguing with him. And that's what he did. He was like, all right, fine. And to be fair, Victor did have a point. Regardless if the plan was going to win. I mean, because Victor was like, well, the plan seemed like it was good. I was like, no about all that. But I understand Victor's position. You know, don't make any sort of deals with these people without telling me, without giving me this is a family affair and you're pretty much going behind our back. Just don't do it again. Give me a heads up. So after that, and a couple of times, Sally did kind of jump in, like, listen, it's a good idea, yada, yada, yada. There was one point, it almost looked like he was about to take the laptop and break it. Like he picked it up and he kind of like, I don't know if anyone saw that, but I saw that and I laughed because I was like, we just in the breaking stuff now. But he did tell Adam, you're like, listen, because Adam at this point, when Victor was like, all right, well, he's waiting at the Grand Phoenix for you, and Adam's like, all right, well, you told me not to make deals behind your back, so are you go with this? Victor says yes, just you know, Adam was like, all right, I won't sit there and disappoint you. And Victor was like, make sure that you don't. And I just laughed. I laughed because here's the thing, I don't know Victor that well, but it seems like it's such a Victor thing to do. So I thought it was pretty funny. I know a lot of people like Nick as a character, but I'm going to be completely honest. I felt like all Nick really did was just more or less complain or, well, I don't want to sit there and say complain or whine, but he did sit there and vent to Sharon about everything. Um, Eventually, after he was talking to Nikki, mostly about the same thing. Nikki and Nick was upset with Adam going behind Victoria's back, um, trying to make Victoria look bad, and just this whole thing. So after that, eventually he does sit there and talk to Sharon pretty much about the same thing. Um, and the only thing that Sharon really offers is just, listen, just be a sounding board, just sit there and listen. Now, Nick did make it a point to say, well, I was the one that was kicked from the wedding when everyone else was complete, when everyone else just agreed to appease Victoria, and I didn't, and it's exactly what got me at. But Sharon's like, listen, just listen to her, just be there for her. Don't, since Adam decided to make a deal behind everyone's back, including Victoria, don't do that. Don't sit there and confront Ashlyn, because you're pretty much just kind of telling Victoria that you don't trust her. Here's the thing, I can understand where Victoria's coming from as far as her anger is concerned because she did let the family in on the plan. She was like, listen, this is my mess. I'm going to sit there and fix it. This is my plan. I want everyone to sit there and support it. And people questioned it. People doubted it. People doubted her ability to sit there and go through with the plan. And then you had Adam decided, I'm just going to sit there and make my own plan. So as much as I don't like this character, I understand where her frustration is coming from. Now, eventually they do meet at the hotel, they book a room, and Ashton's like, listen, I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna take the deal at this point because he tries to make some sort of BS excuse like, no, I don't want you to there getting your hands dirty, this, that, and the third. And it's pretty obvious at this point that her plan is not working. It's not working, it's not working, it's not working. So she just decides to like say screw the plan and just starts blasting on him, talking about you lied to me about you faking cancer and this, that, and the third, because at one point Victoria Smith there trying to do what she can to establish the plan by Smith saying, no, we got to go out to Adam and this, that, and the third. Adam's the one that's planting the evidence. And finally, she's like, well, you didn't want to go out to Adam because you knew he wasn't planting evidence because there was no evidence you were lying and yada, yada, yada. And she just, decided to say, screw the plan and you lied to me and I know it and everyone else knows it and this is why you're leaving and this, that, and the third. Now, I'm looking at this whole thing and like, you do realize that you are in a hotel with him by yourself. This man can do any number of things to you and you are pretty much screwed. This sort of reminded me of Steffi confronting Sheila in a dark alley. I mean, granted, you chose a better setting, but still. So now at this point, Ashlyn is just deciding he wants to charm her by Snitcher saying, well, at the end of the day, we both made mistakes and we can just run away. It's just be me and you. And, we can make this work without your family because we still love each other and yada, yada, yada. And you can see the tears that are coming down in Victoria's face. And I don't know if this tears of her realizing just how foolish she's been or if this tears of she still wants to believe him. Like, that's the general question, if she still wants to sit there and believe him and love him because she. I mean, she even said that. Listen, regardless of the lies and everything like that, no matter how angry I am, I can't just sit there and shut off my emotions. It's just not going to work that way. And so since she still has some sort of love for this guy, there's a part of her. The thing is, there's a part of her that wants to believe it. There's a part of her that wants to sit there and believe what Allison's saying. There's a part of her that wants to accept it and go with him. And that's the part that's unfortunately, um, well, foolish. The whole fool me once, fool me twice. I mean, the guy's been lying to you since day one, and we can all sit there and look at this and be like, Victoria, this guy has been lying to you from day one. The fact that you are still in this hotel listening to him when you know that the plan took a huge nosedive should have kind of been enough. But instead, you want to sit there and hear him out. I, I don't, at this point, I don't know if this is just pride with her for the fact that her plan did fail. Adam was right. I feel like there's a lot in play that's going on in her head as she's sitting there listening to this guy. So I'm not as hard as I've been going on her. I understand a bit of conflict that she's going through. I feel like I covered the majority of the episode. It was definitely good. The sad thing is that I feel like more happened, but at the same time, a lot really didn't happen. I mean, you had Nick, Nikki, and Sharon that were all just um, venting for the most part. Their frustrations with Adam, their concern for Victoria. Um, yeah, I mean, can't really do too much of anything um, that I can sit there and think of. I feel like sometimes this is when the show works best sometimes, especially when you sit there and focus on the Newman stuff. And don't get me wrong, you can have other stuff that's at play, but if you take a look at it as a whole, like this, like the stuff with Noah and Tess and Mariah, it's like, is it really going anywhere, or did it kind of die down a little bit? Does he still have feelings for Tess, or is it just like, okay, I just let it go because I love my sister, and that's the end of that? Like, what is going on with that? I I don't know. The thing is, hopefully, the other stuff can be just as good and just as interesting. But it's one of those things where it's like today's episode worked because it focused on the Newmans and Ashley and stuff like that. And a lot of times they don't. I feel like they don't give some of these other characters as great suspenseful storylines, or at least when I started watching the show again. Um, Now, before I go, I've been saying this in my other three reviews, so I'm just going to sit there and say it in this one also. I'm still going to be watching these episodes and I'm still going to be doing reviews on these episodes. It just may not be as much. Mostly for the fact that sometimes these reviews come out super late. And I may not start until like 9:40 and then the video may not come out till like 11. Um, which at that time is like, I mean, I'm sure people do watch and I'm internally grateful for anyone that will sit there and watch my review, regardless if it's, one person or two people or 20 people. But sometimes it just comes out really late and I have to work really early in the morning and it just gets to be a lot. But not enough to where I'm going to stop watching it because one, I spent way too many hours and way too much time sitting there and remember these characters' names and plot points. So that's not going away. Hence is why I'm not gonna not be watching them. I'm still gonna be watching it. I just feel like I want to sit there and do it when I have more time to do it. Like now it's perfect. Even though it's like 9:30, it's good. But when it gets really late and I feel like I'm really tired, it's like I don't want to. I don't want it to be to a point where it's like I don't feel like I'm putting my best version out, you know? Um, put my heart into it. And that's what it really comes down to. So I may not always be doing these reviews, but I'm still going to be doing it. And before I go, I do want to, because I said this in my GH review. Um, Brock TV, he mainly does GH reviews, but every now and then he'll sit there and do a YNR or a Days or a B&B or whatever. And I always said to myself that I want to sit there and be consistent. If I start doing these reviews, I'm not going to sit there and just stop or just do them every now and then, because I feel like the fan base that I get from subscribers as far as these reviews is concerned, I don't want to feel like it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to sit there and do it and yada, yada, yada after I just start doing it. I don't like that. And I don't feel like people who subscribe to my channel for these reviews deserve that. Which is why I'm not going to sit there and just stop doing reviews on this, and I'm not going to stop watching it. It's just, if maybe one day where it's like, if I have to if I have to work at like 6 o'clock in the morning and I stop my last review at like 9:20, then I'm not gonna sit there and start a Y&R review because I know it's just gonna be super late and I have to wake up super early, and it's just, yeah. So I do really appreciate the people that watch my reviews. I'm still gonna be doing it, and I want to thank everyone for their understanding, especially when these reviews come out later than I want them to. Um, Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.